Attention Nerdy Nights, join Flo, Anders, and me, Colleen, at the well-rounded table for Bohemian Geek Studies, where we take extremely dorky dives into our favorite fandoms.
From that Star Wars galaxy far, far away to outlander Scottish Highlands, we consume it all.
Listen along with us each week as we explore the stories that mean so much to us. Bohemian Geek Studies is available wherever you get your podcasts and is proudly part of the Forgotten Entertainment family.
Hello, and welcome to Recent Activity, your new favorite entertainment review podcast that attempts to cover every film, every show, all at once. I am your co-host, Andrew Morgan. With me, as always, are two men who go bump in the night, mostly because they love 90s hip-hop, Shane Beauregard.
That would be the bad boy of podcasting, thank you very much.
Very true. We have the proof. Go check out our Instagram. And Chris Frodell.
I just like feeling around in the dark.
Yeah, it's not well lit where you are, so I don't blame you. You need a few more lights in there in your dungeon that you're accustomed to doing the podcast.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More rings.
Until we go visual, I don't care.
It's true. Hey, I have to look at your ugly mug, so maybe step up your game, man. Stop looking like the boogeyman. I've seen too many horror movies this week and have many more to come, so, you know, you're doing the I'm the leprechaun vision with the light underneath your face.
Yep.
But yeah, man, we've had like a big horror binge in the last couple weeks, so I'm excited. We're gonna do a full out horror movie episode this week, and we even done some fun live stuff too. Chris and I were just at Connecticut Horrorfest over the weekend. Can you get a sense of like that community when you're there? Because you were there like all day. I was there for like a couple hours. I listened to the Mike Flanagan kind of midnight mass panel, all that group, because it was him, Kate Siegel, Annabeth Gish, and
Henry Thomas.
Henry Thomas, yes.
Yeah.
So it was a good time. It was good to listen to them. They're a lot of fun, but obviously they're talking about just specifically their project, so not a ton to report. But how did you feel about the event, Chris?
It is, my primo place I want to be. I am all about the horror. You know that.
Yes, of course.
No. It's, everyone looks at me weird. It's like, hey, you're the guy who's not into horror. Why are you at a horror show? Because it is about community. It's about, these people gather for interests that they all have. And it is so nice to see everyone with their crafts, their love of the genre, forming under one roof. And, I was lucky enough to be asked by John from The Pint to once again be at the booth all day and play fun games like trivia and talk to the people that pass by, maybe find new followers, see friends that we haven't seen in a while in person.
Yeah, it's always fun.
And that's the main reason why I like going to it. And plus, even though like all the names you mentioned are there for specific projects, they aren't just in horror. They are in vastly different projects, genres, and it's nice to see them walk amongst the crowd. Barbara Crampton, huh?
I know, she looked so young. I was like, you
So
look
good.
younger than me, lady. What is going on here?
Right? She moisturizes, and she has to stay in the limelight.
It's true. I don't hydrate at all. I'm
no.
like, if you think I'm overweight at all, it's not water weight, because I am terrible at drinking water. So I'm going to probably die of dehydration one day. That's my thing.
That's all right.
Yeah.
But no, I'm glad that they throw such a great gathering.
It is.
The Caprolozis and Larry.
Yeah,
and,
scary
and
Larry Dwyer. We love Larry.
Yeah, they definitely run a tight ship. Like, if there's something going wrong, you wouldn't know it.
Yeah.
They have it all under control.
Listen, and not to tell too many tales out of school, like last year it was way more chaotic because they had the two guys from Scream there, so it was like crazy lines. They had like the parts of the building felt like they were falling apart, and you wouldn't know it because they just take yeah, exactly, a pipe burst. Like, you wouldn't know it. It didn't affect anything People stayed. Everything was fine. And that's how good they are, that they can overcome, building anomalies, let alone, stuff going on with, crowds and just a sizable event and all the trappings that can happen in that thing. But you're right. It's absolutely a great event. I'm glad they went to 2 days and they're being successful with it. A lot of cool people. Keith David was there. Like you said, the Reanimator people. You had Night of the Living Dead people, which sounds weird now off my tongue, but it's a great event. Happy to be there. The cosplay was cool. I didn't see anything from like this year's kind of horror movies. I saw a lot of more Stranger Things than I saw movie stuff.
A lot of Eddies
taking the temperature
around.
of what kind of horror is going on right now, but. I don't know, Shane. Like, how would you characterize this year? Because I think we're actually in a pretty sweet horror year, at least as far as that go. As far as the last few years have gone, I think this year is a pretty darn good one so far. And obviously, we haven't even hit the October Halloween season, so I would have thought they would have had more stuff. Maybe some. I saw some black phone masks for sale, things like that. But definitely a good year to cosplay, if you think.
So far this year has been a pretty decent start to the horror year, I think. Because, again, unlike Chris, this is kind of like my jam. Like, we're getting into my 2 months here. But usually, we always get that, for lack of a better term, just a shit fest of bad horror movies in January, February. To start the year. They always slot those movies.
Yeah, you may get one good one. Yeah.
Right. But we've had Scream, which was entertaining to me. Fresh, I thought was entertaining to me. I gave that a pretty high mark. But then there's movies that we were let down about, and we discussed them on the show. Like Nope was a letdown. The Black Phone, I don't consider a horror movie, was a little bit of a letdown. And then Bodies, it is what it is on that front.
Right.
But I think so far we'll talk about Barbarian later on, but so far so good, I'd honestly think. And I'm looking forward to this discussion because I think there's going to be some solid movies coming out towards the tail end of this month and definitely October into the end of the year. And what I like is usually we'll get some surprise movies that you can see on Hulu. Like Hulu Originals actually does a really good job at putting some, like basic cable horror movies, but nonetheless very entertaining.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited going forward what the rest of this year has to offer. And so far, again, I like what I've seen for the most part.
Yeah. And one of those for sure, because you mentioned the Hulu one, because they do step up and kind of put something through. The big ticket for them will be Hellraiser later on, and that's probably, I don't know, about a month from now. I think that's going to come out, so that'll be interesting. I think some of the first looks have been out, and it looks kind of interesting. I don't think I've seen a trailer though. Did you guys see one?
Yeah, just pics of her as Pinhead and a couple of Cenobites.
Yeah, something like that.
I think.
Yeah.
But nothing. And I think it's October 7th.
Yeah.
That it's coming to Hulu.
Is it that fast? Okay, cool. Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I have it in my head.
Yeah. I'm interested because I actually just went to the Connecticut Cult Classics screening of Hellraiser and Hellraiser 2. Gosh, that was recently. It was over the summer, maybe. So that it's definitely fresh in my mind. That is a movie that is definitely hard to remake. But if they're probably going to do kind of a reboot of sorts where it's using similar tones and character but maybe not telling the same story as the original or however it's supposed to be. I'm not quite sure how that's supposed to pan out, but obviously if you have a Pinhead type character, it's got to be quite similar. But as you noted, Shane, I think we're in a pretty good spot. Nope, X, and now obviously Pearl came out, in the same year, which is very wild to see two, at least critically successful ones that have come out in the same year in the same franchise. That's definitely new and definitely new for horror. But yeah, you're absolutely right with the Hulu, with Fresh, No Exit, which we'll bring up too. There's a bunch of stuff that's all kind of in Hulu between them and IFC Midnight and Shudder kind of stuff that's kind of trickled out over the year or two, whether it's theatrical and then straight to Shudder or however it goes. But a lot of those have been some of the best I've liked too. But I figure we could get right into the reviews because we have almost a handful of movies that are scattered between the three of us here. Notable up top, I wanted to start with Barbarian, though, because this is the movie that everyone, it had a reputation and still has quite a reputation for being a movie that I love this sentiment of go in blind, don't know anything. I mean, that's the Chris mantra for everything if he can help it. But obviously we live in a world where you go to a movie theater and trailers play. But I've heard people where like, oh yeah, the trailer came up and I closed my eyes and ears and tried to do the best to just go literally blind into the movie itself. And I applaud that. I love it. It makes me feel like how people felt about Blair Witch or movies like that. Shane, you're the horror guy. Help me out here. Is there another movie that you can remember in recent memory that they were like, don't look up anything, don't know anything, just go in blind?
Oh, that's a good question. I can't think of anything in recent memory because, again, we live in that instant spoil movie kind of era.
True.
But I think Blair Witch was probably the last movie that caught fire that no one knew anything about.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, you just got to go watch this movie.
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it was the Blair Witch Project.
Chris, you can't think of anything, can you?
No, I can only think of movies like It Follows.
Okay.
Like, but that's even hard to say, what it's about kind of thing. Like, like there's a one sentence that gives it away as to what it is. But,
right.
For the most part, I didn't know what it was about until I watched it.
Yeah.
And I didn't watch it when it first came out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That came to mind when I was thinking of one.
Yeah, and The Witch and Hereditary kind of have similar type vibes.
Oh,
where
you gotta bring those movies up, huh? You gotta bring those movies up.
I'm just saying they have a massive following, and they came at the time from directors who didn't have this large reputation of like, hey, you got to go see this. You know what I mean? So it kind of came out of the blue a little bit. And Get Out too, of course, kind of has that vibe too, where, but the trailer, they didn't really say like go in blind. It was more like, because it had such overarching themes and everything else, people wanted to like dissect it and pick it apart versus like, oh my God, this movie's gonna freak you the hell out kind of a thing. And that's obviously what the Blair Witch sentiment was. And I wished all those other movies, I wish this was the 90s in a lot of ways, because the hope for me for a movie like Barbarian would be like it was for me watching the Blair Witch in the 90s, which was I couldn't get a ticket. I had to go to multiple theaters to try to go and get tickets and stand in line where the lines were around the building. That was the 90s, kids. Not now where it's like, if a movie's so big, it'll have so many screens that you'll never see a line. But if the movie is like an out of nowhere hit, is something now like Everything Everywhere All at Once, where it made like, 100 million,
right?
Maybe 100 million. Did it get to 100 million yet? I forget.
I don't think so.
It deserves all the money.
It does. I think it definitely was the biggest grosser for someone like A24, but it's still not something to where you're like, oh man, I couldn't find a ticket. That's a way different feeling.
I think Snowpiercer, now that I think about it, and I know it's not a horror film, but that movie had the same vibe because I didn't know anything about it, went into a cold, couldn't really get a ticket. And I remember I went, this is the first time it's ever happened to me. I went in, and they were like, hey, where'd you come in from to watch this movie? I'm like, where did I come in from? And apparently here in Greensboro, they had people coming in 3 hours away to watch this movie because it's the only theater that was showing Snowpiercer at the time.
Huh.
Wow.
So that's probably the last like kind of phenomenon movie that kind of like just spread just from word of mouth. It's like, hey, you got to go watch this movie. So, yeah, I know I was late to the party throwing that example in there, but it just hit me.
No, it's okay. I sprung it on you, so it's well deserved. And it's interesting because again, Snowpiercer was Bong Joon-ho, so in some circles, he had that reputation to go seek out a movie like that. But obviously now between Snowpiercer and Parasite and Okja and things like that, like that are more American phenomenons as well, or global phenomenons, if you want to call it that way, that now if you see a movie from him now, it's not a surprise as to what he's capable of or how his movies turn out. But let's get into Barbarian now, because this is a movie written and directed by Zach Cregger, who is coming. I don't want to say, because 2 is not a trend, but I kind of love the trending idea of the fact that this is a comedic actor turned horror director, who, from what I understand, from people who were in the midst of the production and everything else, apparently Zach Cregger did talk to Jordan Peele. I guess they are buddies and kind of like picked each other's brain as the movie started to get picked up and go into production and do all these things. So how much of an influence it had on the movie itself, or, you know, at any stage of production or the writing process, who knows? But like I said, this is Zach Cregger, who is from The Whitest Kids You Know, which I absolutely love that show. Chris and I were talking about it over the weekend. Yeah. We were trading favorite sketches and everything else. I love that guy. I love that group. He was best friends with Trevor Moore, who unfortunately passed away from that group. And previously, not only did they do Whitest Kids You Know, but they did that movie Miss March together, where it was like a co-direction thing. And that was like his first foray into that. And he didn't want to direct anymore. He thought he was basically like in director jail, and he happened to write this script, and he managed to get it through a couple of financiers and after a few alterations, and it's amazing this movie even got made. It stars Georgina Campbell as Tess, Bill Skarsgård as Keith, and Justin Long as AJ. So, of course, as we mentioned, this movie being a phenomenon, the scores reflect that, although there is one number in this that really baffles me, and I kind of want to get into it, especially with you, Shane, who is the other person besides myself who saw it of the three of us. This currently has a 92% Rotten Tomatoes score. It has a 70% audience score, though, which is very interesting, and I don't know if it's because of the content within the movie and how... I don't want to spoil anything up top, but what transpires within the home and all that stuff can be off-putting to some if they weren't expecting it, because this movie definitely flips on its head once it gets into the movie. It's not what the trailer kind of puts out there. So I'm really trying to be very delicate here, I know, because Chris hasn't seen the movie and he's kind of the avatar for the audience. I'm trying not to kill this thing, but
I'll walk away, I swear.
Yeah. But 92% Rotten Tomatoes score, 70% Rotten Tomato audience score, 79 Metascore, which is quite high for a horror film, 7.6 IMDb, and a 3.8 on Letterboxd, also quite high. This movie is about a young woman traveling to Detroit for a job interview who books a rental home, but when she arrives late at night, she discovers that the house is double booked and a strange man is already staying there. Against her better judgment, she decides to spend the evening, but soon discovers that there's a lot more to fear than just an unexpected house guest. Shane, this was a definitely a confusing, discomforting movie to start. A lot of mistrust and just a tough setting that reminded me actually a little bit of how Fresh unfolded. A little bit, but in like a smaller, tighter window of a meet cute. And then as it went on, it's interesting that I mentioned Blair Witch. I felt very much a lot of like Blair Witchy type vibes in the camera work and lighting and other stuff as this movie went along. And then like 30 minutes in, it flips again and pulls you right out and moves to a different location and then tries to bring you back in. This is a very crazy movie, but I enjoyed it. And I'm curious to know what you think. How did you feel about Barbarian?
Yeah, this is going back to your Rotten Tomato score, because usually this kind of movie is kind of flipped, where the audience score is always a little higher than the critic score. So to see that kind of disparity between the two kind of surprises me with this film. I think the first thing I wrote to you guys when I got done with this movie was, that was a fucked up movie. Yeah. And of course, you guys were like, don't spoil it. I'm like, that's all I'm gonna say. Because as you put it, Andrew, this movie is a tale of two different movies. It really is. Very slow burn to start, and you're getting the tension built and the trust issues between Bill Skarsgård, and I thought Georgina Campbell did a great job. I've never seen her in anything before. But she was really good.
She's relatively new. I think she was in like a Black Mirror episode. Like not much
that's
before
right.
This.
I reckon. Yeah. So man, I felt the same way with the Blair Witch comparison. You know. The whole basement scene stuff, and when this movie flipped, I was I was shocked. Because it goes into more absurdity, which you have to let your brain kind of breathe about. Like, don't try to like analyze too much of the second half of this movie.
Right.
That's where you see Justin Long come in, and there are some funny bits in that, especially with his character. There's one laugh out loud scene I had at the end of the movie, and I'm not going to spoil anything for you. We'll talk about it off air whenever we decide to spoil this thing. But it made me laugh. So this movie had everything. It built the tension. My heart was pounding, and it had some good scares. It made me laugh. And actually, one scene made me gag, and I had to like turn away.
Yeah, I had to do a few like look up at the ceiling moments. Yep.
And it wasn't for anything like violently gross. It was something so benign, but the visual of it, I started like, and for those who don't know, I have a very sensitive olfactory system. So like I gag on smells and thoughts and just, it's a mess and it's embarrassing, but I have to live with it. That's my cross I bear. But yeah. And so it had everything. I really dug this movie. Like I had such high regards, even though it was really fucked up, and it's not for everybody. Let me just put that out there.
Yeah.
But because it goes in a direction like, wow, okay, all right, this is where we're going. But kudos to Zach here, Kreger, for writing and directing this movie, because again, this is probably the best horror film I've seen so far of the year. And I kept thinking, like, why is this movie named Barbarian? I still can't figure that part out, but I thought it was maybe a play on the street name. Maybe they were pronouncing that wrong. I don't know. But yeah, anyway. God damn, Chris, you know how hard it is talking about this movie without spoiling this thing?
Well, we could give them earmuffs. We could do the whole thing.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you want to do that?
Well,
You know,
I'll address a few of the things that Shane brought up first, and then we could see where we want to go from there, because I did listen to an interview with Zach Kreger on the Big Picture podcast, and he said a few things that are very interesting. One, as far as the name Barbarian, he kind of made it up. He just was like, he thought it was a cool name for a movie, and that's where he was. He wrote the whole thing, and then he was like, Barbarian. There you go.
Okay.
So if he is to be trusted on that is one thing, but that was his answer when asked about it, because again, it kind of doesn't fit the movie. But you're right. The film is set, that Airbnb is on Barbary Street. So it is one of those like winky kind of things that maybe he had that in his head, or he changed the name of the street after he named the movie. Whatever it is, that is something that kind of seems like, come on, you didn't just do that to like kind of line that up. I don't know. But it definitely is out there for conspiracy nuts of the movie.
Or maybe he was reading about an elephant named Babar.
Yes. Yeah.
And just mispronounced it.
Yeah, he was just having family time, and he's like, you know what? We'll see.
Barbarian.
Maybe. Yeah, he'll come out with it. But some of the elements of this movie will make you think that maybe there is a Jordan Peele influence, if not like direct conversation stuff, because there are added layers of Me Too stuff, gentrification, racism, police mistrust. It's all kind of like the tapestry of the film, but nothing that really like supplies the plot in like a much larger theme, because the plot is just way more, I don't want to say basic, or it's more straight up in a way for how fucked up it is and whatever, but it's all there, and it was all, from what I understand from listening to interviews, that was all on the page. That was all stuff out of Zach Kreger's mind. The only thing that came later, apparently, was the flashback sequence to like the 1980s in this movie was a later add, and something to add more depth to kind of what's been going on in the movie. That was asked at the behest of a producer that he was working with. That was the suggestion from them. Otherwise, everything was in that early draft, from what I understand.
And that was a much needed scene, that flashback scene, even though it kind of took me out of the movie for like a minute or two.
Yeah.
But it did add that layer of at least basic understanding of what was going on and how it got to that level.
Yeah. That's why I think, honestly, I like this movie, and we'll get into grades and all that stuff in a sec, but like, I liked it, but I feel like this is a movie that I could definitely like more with repeat viewings. You know, we already know what the reveal is and what's actually down there and all this other stuff. But like, what I would say is that certain scenes of that, like the Justin Long thing or the flashbacks or these other things, it took me out of the movie for a brief period of time. So I'm interested to now know how interesting of a seamless transition is it after an initial viewing and then you go into it for a second time to see really what his thought was. But I thought the movie actually still worked very well. I thought, even though they go through multiple characters and multiple plot lines, essentially feeding into the same ending, into the same conclusion, into the same monster, whatever you want to call it. It's just, it works very well, especially for a person who's hasn't worked on a movie directing wise since, I don't know when Miss March was, but God, it's got to be over a decade for sure, or it feels like it. So, is there anything you got to get right out your system there, Shane? Because I'm trying to protect Chris's delicacy and the audience's delicacy. And even though I've listened to podcasts where they just go, listen, we're going to go into spoilers now, so if you don't want to know anything, please just, fast forward or whatever. But, so I'm willing to do it either way. I like the idea of just telling people that this movie's fucked up. This movie's good. Go see it. And if you want to have a larger conversation with it, though, for people who have seen it, I'm here for that too.
No, that's okay. I like the idea of keeping the curtain kind of closed on this movie because I'll talk about that one scene that made my gag reflex kick in off air. Yeah. I don't think the people need to hear that. But no, I think I like this. Hold the curtain over this movie for a little bit and let people go find this movie because I think it's a movie they should seek out and watch and discuss and just have a good time with because it does go from serious thriller drama to me it got almost B-movie campy at the end, which I like.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely an interesting change up for Justin Long in this movie as well. So Connecticut's own, by the way. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
He's got multiple projects going on right now. Clerks 3, I just saw him in. So I saw him multiple times in the same week, let alone. And I think I saw a preview for something else he's got coming up real soon, too. So that man is working. Congratulations to him. But how do you want to score this, Shane? How would you put this on a 5-star rating?
5-star rating, initial gut reaction coming out of the movie without thinking about it too much. I give it a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
If I try to get lost in trying to overanalyzing thoughts, I could probably drop it to a 3.5, but I'm going to go with a 4.
I think we're in the same boat. I initially was thinking around 3.5, but I was like, that seems low. So I wanted to kind of be like, but is it a 4? So I'm kind of in between. I'd say probably a 3.75 if I had to cheat, which is basically right on the Letterboxd score. They're at a 3.8. I'm like, that is absolutely fair because it's not like the one thing about this movie, even though it, like I said, it talks about some larger issues and it weaves it in with the messed up horror stuff, it's not going to be some movie where I didn't have the reaction of some people where I wasn't fist pumping as I left the theater. I just was like, whew, holy shit. Can't wait to talk to another human being about this because I went by myself, which is also, I don't know if I'd say ill-advised, but it's probably not ideal. Did you see it by yourself as well, Shane?
I did, yeah.
I
did.
I don't know. Part of me really wanted you to say you brought your girlfriend because that would be a heck of a time. That's a heck of a date movie. I saw people on dates while watching the movie, and it was it was silent.
Yeah, it was quiet, and I got done, and I was like, man, I'm kind of glad I didn't take her to see this fucking movie. Because if you're not really into horror, it's like, what did you bring me to see? Like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
So,
and there is plausible deniability because the trailer and all. Everybody's like, no, you shouldn't know anything. I'm like, you could be like, I didn't know this. I didn't know this was going to happen. So that's pretty good. But I'm glad we're on the same page.
It.
Yeah.
I have to see it because it was in my draft. So
it's true. It's true. Very true.
No. The trailer had me, so I definitely want to see it. But schedule wise, I haven't been able to get out there. But
yeah,
I do plan on seeing it. I may have a free moment this weekend.
Yeah, it's crazy because your wife is into the horror movies too. So I'd
Yep.
be interested if you actually had like a date night with her to watch something like this. But that would be incredible. So if you do that, definitely report back. If not, I'd love to hear your thoughts on off mic or on. So hopefully we could do more as this. We'll probably do it feels like we're going to end up doing like a horror movie a week when it gets to October anyway. So I'm sure we'll have plenty of time to revisit the horror rankings and everything else. But one movie you did watch, Chris, was The Invitation. This is directed by Jessica M. Thompson and starring Natalie Emmanuel as Evie. She, of course, a breakout star from Game of Thrones. I say, obviously, but Chris doesn't watch Game of Thrones. So did you know her from anything else before this?
Nope. I will tell you I think the one person that stood out in this movie was the guy who plays Alfred in Gotham.
Okay.
He plays a butler
Shock.
in this one. Oh, God.
Yeah. I hate getting typecast, especially doing
Typecast.
any chores. That is my worst nightmare, so I feel for that man. Scores on this movie real quick before we get into it with you there.
Mhm.
Kind of the opposite of the Barbarian effect. It is a 26 Rotten Tomatoes score with a 59% Rotten Tomato audience score, a 45 Metascore, 5.2 on IMDb, and a 2.4 Letterboxd. Very middling to meh in terms of the critical scores out there. This movie is about Evie after the death of her mother and having no other known relatives. Evie takes a DNA test and discovers a long-lost cousin she never knew she had. Invited by her newfound family to a lavish wedding in the English countryside, she at first seduced by the sexy aristocrat host, but is soon thrust into a nightmare of survival as she uncovers twisted secrets in her family's history and the unsettling intentions behind their sinful generosity. Chris, you were the only soul who saw this movie. It kind of flopped in the theaters. Not a lot of box office to report or any of that. Even during that the very slow period that Barbarian was at least able to carve out 25-30 million out of. This one, not so much. So what were your feelings on The Invitation?
I'm not far off from the general public.
All right.
Yeah, it was. I knew nothing about this going in. I just knew that the mutterings of the community saying that this was coming out, and I think we were confusing it. You and I, Andrew, about. I think we were confusing this with Barbarian as to what the premise was, and I think
the
you put
vampire
it in my
thing?
head that it was the vampire. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's this one. It's this one.
Okay.
So that's the only thing I knew going into it was that this is possibly a vampire story.
Right.
And my God, it took a long time to get there. Like,
is it a long movie?
No, it's not. I don't think it's that long. It shouldn't be that long. I think it was like an hour and a half or something like that.
Okay. But it just felt like it took forever to get interesting.
Well, yeah, like it starts developing really halfway through or a little halfway through. Like you get backstory of Evie, her life. She's single in New York. She has a best friend who is like family to her because it's the only family she has.
Right.
And then, through some plot machinations, she gets a DNA test and finds out she has a rich relative over in England. And so, she just takes a chance and says, you know what do I have going on here?
Right.
Let me go over there. And her friend is sort of like Lil Rel in Get Out.
Okay.
And is just like, hey, listen, this seems shady. You keep in contact with me. You take pictures of license plates. You do this. You do.
Right.
So I'm like, okay. And it kind of reminds me of Fresh.
I was going to say Fresh is
because
the current example. Sure.
Yeah. But it just gave me vibes of other movies that did it better. It gave me Get Out vibes. It gave me Fresh vibes. It gave me Ready or Not.
I was going to say, that's the movie when I saw the trailer, that was the first thing I thought of. It looked very Ready or Not influenced.
They were like, there were certain scenes that were occurring in the movie, and I was just like, if they do this, they are straight up biting Ready or Not. it's a different story. It's not exactly the same, but it's, sort of like a fish out of water. This girl of color from America goes over to the whitest of white of London,
Right.
and she's supposedly related to these people. And it's just like, what's going on here? And would any of this happen if she didn't take that DNA test?
Right.
No, it wouldn't happen.
So that wasn't staged. I don't want to like ruin it for everybody.
No, it wasn't. I don't think it was staged. It just happened.
Okay. Fascinating.
If anything was staged, it was them putting out that they need this DNA, like a 23andMe kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
Where as soon as you get a hit, whatever you're looking for, boom, we got her.
So it's not an advertisement for Ancestry.com or
No.
23andMe.
No.
This is like worst case scenario.
Unless you're into this.
I guess, yeah.
But yeah.
I also love you using the term biting off another movie in a vampire sense. So that's also a fun play on
Right?
words. So you're doing great, Chris.
Totally sleepwalk through that one.
Oh, nice.
But no, it like as far as story is concerned, as far as like what it's about, it's a lot of setup. First half of the movie is setup.
Right.
Like her lifestyle. She comes over to England. Things are weird over there, but everyone's so inviting to her.
Right.
Like you would think they would be like not full on racist, but like, she's not pure bloodline,
Yeah.
or something
Suddenly
like
turns
that.
into Harry Potter. Yeah.
Yeah.
You muggle.
Everyone is involved. Everyone is just like open arms. Great.
Right.
You have family in us. Thank you for coming here.
Right.
Thank
And
you for
those are
taking
the vibes
test.
that make it Ready or Not. You're coming into a posh experience where everybody's
Yes.
welcoming, but meanwhile, they're kind of like smiling through the actual deceit that's about to transpire. Yeah.
And same thing with Get Out. You have this
True.
this guy who's in a new relationship, gets to meet the family, and there's something underhanded with the environment. So, it seemed like it was straight from like the CW,
Mhm.
but in some of my research, apparently there's an R rating where there's more gore, there's more
Right.
deserving of an R.
Yeah.
This was PG-13, and it felt like a PG-13.
That's a
Like
shame.
a couple gets together, you see them start to disrobe, and then suddenly they're like, it's the end.
Right.
They're waking up, they're half naked but covered. I'm like, what is going on here? Is it made for TV?
Right. Yeah. That's why they end
but
up in
there is
August,
a-
baby.
There is an R rating, I guess the director claims. And also in my research, I found out it was written by Blair Butler.
Mhm.
And any fans of Attack of the Show
Yep.
know Blair. And she used to do comic segments
Mm-hmm.
on the show.
She does a lot more
And,
producing.
she's
than
written some other
writing,
movies,
or at least writing for screen. So that's an interesting twist of her being, a feature writer, a feature-length script writer.
Yeah, like she was part of, I think, the writing team of the whole 10 Yards. The lesser of the two Yards.
She was on the
films.
staff. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if she was on part of the screenplay.
Like you
stuff,
can't
yeah.
fully blame her.
Exactly. Yeah.
But a movie called Polaroid, and some other stuff like in TV and segments and whatnot.
Yeah, a lot
But,
more TV stuff. Yep.
And I was like, oh, that's a shame, because I used to love Attack of the Show, and I thought everyone was great on it, and they had their segments. Chris Gore had his DVD Tuesday.
Yeah.
DVD Tuesday. It was tough to say then. So he, everyone involved, I was like, great, But to see this in her resume, I'm like, she could have did better.
Yeah.
It just seemed derivative of other movies, and it wasn't that interesting to not make me look at my watch, not make me second screen.
Right.
But there are some cool concepts in it. If you don't want to know anything about this, don't watch a trailer. Don't do any research. Just go into it. You want to watch, like I said, a fish out of water.
Mm-hmm.
Going into a very shady environment, then this is your movie. But I was not over the moon with this one.
Yeah. Like you said, the critics weren't either, so you kind of, nailed probably a lot of the potential reasons why there. And, like you said, a lot of it is either of a piece with other movies that seem similar, and obviously if they don't execute in the same way as those, you're immediately going to be let down. So I'll probably end up catching it at some point, but man, definitely not looking forward to it based on what would you put a grade on something like that?
I would say 2.5.
Okay.
Out of 5.
Gotcha.
Like I said, there was some segments that I was like, oh, that's interesting, or that's, something I haven't seen before.
Right.
But for the most part, it was slow to go to that point of interest.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
Chris, you had me sold on it's like a CW show. And I don't know why we keep trying to bash on the CW, man. I live in the CW.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I did
there's a time and a place.
I did see some of the cinematography in the trailer, and I did kind of feel that vibe. Like, am I watching, the Vampire Diaries, or am I watching The Invitation? So
watch it, buddy. Right. Watch it now. Watch it talking about.
I was going to say, then this is right up Shane's alley.
Shane, I would only know that if I saw these shows, so I'm not completely ripping them apart. My wife, I think, watched some of those. Like, what is it, the originals, or what is there's like a bunch of offshoots. Yeah,
that was a spinoff. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, okay, it's like between CW and was it the shows on MTV, like Ridgedale, maybe the newest Scream, Riverdale, Riverdale, Teen Wolf, Scream, it's like those, except like watered down. So.
Well, hey, I mean, again, a lot of people who worked on TV, not a lot of film experience before this movie, kind of adds up with maybe the kind of production quality that they got out of that one. But I want to move on because we have a couple other movies here still left to go. No Exit is the next movie. This is another Hulu original, part of the original Fox deal, that is about this college student suffering from addiction issues during a blizzard and stranded on an isolated highway rest stop in the mountains. She discovers a kidnapped child hidden in a car belonging to one of the people inside. Shane, did you know anything about this movie before I tipped this one to you at all? Because I think I was the first one who watched it of all of us. Even though it came back out in February, I only saw this recently.
Yeah, I think I saw like the photo of the movie as I was scrolling through Hulu, but really didn't read the description on it or anything. And it wasn't until you said you watched it, you gave me your thoughts on it. I'm like, okay. Short movie, I can get in and out, and we'll get into it. But I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, for sure. Especially for the lead here being Havana Rose Liu, who I haven't seen in anything. She was in some movies that I've had kind of on watch list, like Mayday was one that came out of Sundance that I was interested in. The Sky is Everywhere is another movie from this year that she was in. That's an Apple movie, I believe, that I heard pretty good things about. But I hadn't seen her in anything personally. And then there are some notable names in here, but I didn't really... They're all... people I've seen in various things. Danny Ramirez is becoming a bigger and bigger star. He was on Falcon and Winter Soldier. And then, of course, some mainstays like Insurance's own Dennis Haysbert, the president, my president from 24. I will always love Dennis Haysbert for that. Dale Dickey is a mainstay character actress who is in so many things. So, and those are kind of the main people. Once you get into the rest stop area, those are kind of the main players here. This is directed by Damien Power, who again doesn't have much of a resume. Nothing that I've at least seen. A lot of either shorts that got him that, but I think he only has one other feature-length film under his belt on that one, The Killing Ground, back in 2016. So I was pleasantly surprised by this. I didn't know what to expect. I heard pretty good things. It's based on a novel of the same name, I believe. And yeah, the scores are fine. It's a 59 Rotten Tomatoes score with a 51 Rotten Tomato audience score, a 6.1 IMDb, a 54 Metascore, and a 3.1 Letterboxd. I probably am more in line with the Letterboxd. I think it's probably a solid 3 for me. I enjoyed the tension. It's kind of, it almost felt, because it's a lot of it's one location. So you're kind of, it felt almost like a stage play. It's very hard to make it not seem claustrophobic or to have reasons to get them out without seeming like a Scooby-Doo episode, like it's some kind of like sitcom, like, oh, I got to go outside. No, I got to go outside, and kind of like going through this whole place. Right. So I think they did a good job in terms of the production design, going between what's going on outside, the fact that you're in a rest stop that is mostly abandoned. A lot of things don't work. It's not, looks in pretty decent shape walking in for something that is kind of abandoned. But they opened it up because it's, the weather conditions outside. So I think all that made it work, that it brought everybody into one location to kind of pick each other apart. Had a few, obviously, bogeys in the wind with the story of the child being discovered and then how that all transpired. I thought it was a pretty good kind of like a mystery mixed in with a thriller. How did you feel about it, Shane?
Yeah, I felt the same way. I love the lead in this movie. And just echoing your thoughts, I've never seen her before, but I thought she carried this very well. I like the fact that the location it was set in. I like the couple twists that this movie threw you in.
Yeah.
Especially towards the end, because I definitely did not see that coming. But I liked it. It was a tight, nice suspense movie. It was short. It was just like an hour and a half. So it was perfectly, I thought, the perfect runtime.
Yeah.
Again, I'm a big Dennis Haysbert's fan myself, so I like to see him in anything. But I did watch this one with my girlfriend. I want to make a note of that because, and I know movies lie to us. And listen, I may look like a manly man, and I do look like a manly man, but I don't do a lot of manly man. Yeah, I don't do a lot of manly man stuff. Okay,
sure.
I'm not good at barbecues. I can't fix anything. I can lift things up and put them down in other places. Pretty much,
sure.
That's my extent.
Yeah.
So another way the movies lie to us, Lethal Weapon 2 in this movie, because my girlfriend pointed this out, a nail gun will not fire unless it's pressed against something. Did not know that. So it does not just freely shoot like you're shooting a handgun. So I never knew that, again, because of my lack of manly experience. But yeah, I thought that was like in another way the movies pull the rug on stupid people like myself. Yeah.
I didn't know that either. I've seen it in so many movies.
Right.
I knew that.
They lied
Probably
to us.
Shortly after Lethal Weapon 2.
Or shooting yourself in the foot with a nail gun.
Right.
Oh man, if it was possible, I would have been like, yes, I've been nailed before.
Wait a minute. So doesn't that also mean that Happy Gilmore lied to me?
Yeah.
Nail comes out next week?
Yeah.
That whole thing? Shot in the head?
Yeah.
Wow.
Lies.
Yeah.
But to get back to my score, I
always known for his continuity. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. But I had the same score you did. I gave it a 3. It was just a nice, tight thriller, good acting, very suspenseful. I thought it was well written for what it was. So yeah, another notch in the Hulu belt for me.
Yeah, same here. I was pleasantly surprised. And it's one of those, it's available. It's right there for you. As far as there's not a ton of great streaming horror options. Chris liked Orphan First Kill, and it's probably got a similar scoring, I think, out of that. So, there's a few of these kind of kicking around. But this is definitely one that I was happy I watched it. The only thing I would say is for a movie that was so gripping, even though I didn't hate her performance or anything, I liked the lead here. But as far as her character goes, I didn't care too much about the bookend of this movie about like her in rehab and then going back to rehab and then all the other stuff. Like, it didn't have a whole lot of bearings on the actual mystery itself or how it goes. It was just a device to get her there. So the in and out, I cared more about the out, of course, because we're spending time with her, but the in and kind of how it goes out is like, eh.
Yeah, same here.
She reinvigorates something in herself. She's getting her life back together, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But that didn't fully have a lot to do with what was going on at that rest stop. So it's not like there was some big arc that got through besides just trying to help this kid, escape. So definitely a recommend, but, hey, and especially for if you're right at home, hit play right now. Enjoy yourself. Have a nice little evening. Another streaming option, though, that's having a little less of a good time in terms of the scores, but not by much. Goodnight Mommy, which I love bookending this horror episode with Mommy on multiple things for anyone who actually did watch Barbarian. So Goodnight Mommy is directed by Matt Sobel and starring Naomi Watts as the titular mother. The scores here, a 42 Rotten Tomatoes score with a 41% audience score. So not loved by either side of the critical aisle there. 41 Metascore and a 3.0 on Letterboxd, which I think might tick a little high considering, and also a 5.6 IMDb. So Shane, you're the one who watched Goodnight Mommy here. Enlighten us, sir. Is it worth watching? This is a remake of an Austrian-German film that I know certain friends of mine actually thoroughly enjoyed. So is it worth watching on this one? This is on Amazon Prime.
Oh, God. No. And I'm not going to go to a lengthy review on this movie. Go watch the original one. I don't know why the director felt this one needed to be remade. Naomi Watts, I think, did the best she could with what she was given, because she plays mother to these two twins, as discussed, that they get dropped off by their dad, and their mom's all bandaged up, and there's some sense that she may not be their real mom. And then it's about the boys trying to discover like who this lady really is. The problem was it was utterly boring. And again, I don't want to come down on kid actors, but they were bad. They were just bad.
I think when you say that once a week, Shane, I think you're gonna develop that that you might have a little bit of a problem. But
that
it's
moniker,
common, though.
I know.
It's common. But that's what's amazing, how much we love Stranger Things over the years. And it's like, if you get some good ones, it can really make your movie. And Black Phone was the same thing. We really liked the kids in that one. But, yeah,
right.
It's
but
rare.
This one did not live up to the bill. It was unsuspenseful. Again, it was boring. There was one... Sorry. There's one scene to me that was just laughable, and it was a scene where Naomi Watts is like so-called torturing one of the boys, and I'm like, she's basically just hosing him down with like a water, like you get out of your kitchen sink, like not even in the face, like waterboarding him, just like spraying him on the chest and stuff. It was ridiculous.
Which reminds me of Billy Madison when they're just spraying that kid in the face, like, stop, why are you doing this? I don't know you.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. And it made me laugh in the same way. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So when you got to the pullback of this movie, I was uninterested. I didn't give two shits. It was just that bad of a movie. Like, it was bad. And I was surprised Naomi Watts, who does good horror films in her career, she has it in her catalog, she wasn't
a lot
the
of them
problem
remakes
in this movie. Yeah. She was not the problem in this movie. It was everything else. And I won't spoil it for those who actually do want to see this movie, but I would recommend the original one. The other thing that bothered me a little bit is one of the boys' names, she kept calling him Elias, but it's spelled Elias. And for some reason I couldn't get over it's Elias. Say Elias. So I don't know. It was not worth it. Like, this is a totally leave your pants buckled kind of movie. I gave it a 1.5 out of 5. Yeah.
Wow.
It's one of the worst movies I've seen so far this year.
Wow. So, Chris, now you want to watch that one, right? That's where we're going with this?
Well, I was going to say, I will most likely watch the original. And also the writers wrote a good one that I think I've talked about before. The Lodge.
Oh yeah, I started that
So-
one and I haven't finished it yet because honestly,
it's-
it bummed me the fuck out in the first like 20 minutes, and it was like late at night.
It doesn't
and I
get
was
any
like, no.
brighter. It's like a dirge. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah,
Yeah, you put away all sharp objects, but it's so
Yeah.
well done.
yeah,
So yeah, I'll probably see the original because I've heard good things about the original, and I've seen stills of the same thing where the woman is wearing a mask of some sort with just her eyes and mouth
right.
available to see. So, and I think I heard the premise, and I said, "Huh, that might be interesting," but I never just found it and watched. So
Yeah, it's striking
I'll do that.
visually, that look, the bandage look, all that. It does kind of have a lot of good horror overtones with it, but yeah, if they did it better in a different movie, I'll just seek that out, especially if
Yeah.
you're that down on it, Shane.
Yeah, and not to go back to this film and throw more crap on it, but there is one scene in here that reminded me of the very little scene Under the Skin movie with Scarlett Johansson that threw me for a loop for a while, and it made zero sense. I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on, and they never really resolved it until like the very end. But at that point, I did not care
Mhm.
about anything that happened in the movie. Once you get to the final act, this movie's just a mess from start to finish. But yeah, there's a strange under the skin scene in here that was out of place, in my opinion.
Yeah, and to borrow your phrase, not to throw too much crap on Naomi Watts, but I saw that she was in this movie, and it's starting to turn into a red flag that her as a lead is not the most solid ground anymore. And because I've seen her in things where I'm like, she's a small part of a good movie, but it seems like the larger part of the movie that she's in lately, it means the movie is not going to be good. And I still like her as an actress. I wish better for her, but it's not going well. Like, I mean, for me, she had her heyday of Mulholland Drive, The Ring, 21 Grams, I Heart Huckabees, things like that. King Kong and Eastern Promises is probably where it tips right there. And then after that, it's a real crapshoot. So, I mean, we're talking over a decade solid of what are we talking about here? Or small roles where I could say, oh yeah, she's still good.
Right.
But do you
It's
feel
a
the
shame.
same way?
Yeah, it's a shame because I do like her and she has good performances in her, as you just discussed. But I don't know why she's choosing the scripts that she's choosing. I don't know if it's out of desperation. I
People
can't
gotta
figure
work.
it out.
Yeah.
I can't figure it out because I do like her on screen. I do like to see her in movies. She is a good. I like her as an actress. I like seeing her, but golly, you're right. She's going like straight to streaming release stuff now, which isn't terrible if you're making mediocre movies. But man, the last couple she's made have not even been mediocre movies.
Yeah.
Hollywood, give the girl a script.
I know.
Yeah.
Because she could do it. She's good.
Yep.
I like her. But that's all we got for reviews here. But I just want to kind of go through. So you were saying that Barbarian's probably still your number one horror of the year, Shane?
Yes. Right now, I would have, off the top of my head, it's probably my favorite horror movie so far of the year.
Would it tip over? Probably X, Fresh, one of those? Nope.
It tipped over Fresh and X because up until this point, those are my two highest rated horror movies I had.
Yeah, and that's fair. That's probably the similar for me. I mean, Nope, I liked maybe a little more than you did, Shane, or we were all similar. But yeah,
Similar,
I think
yeah.
I had a just maybe a it's so weird to say a better time at Barbarian, just because maybe it's a little more straight up, a little less examination and just craziness. So I think I liked them maybe for two different reasons. Same thing with X, the whole homage kind of Texas Chainsaw thing. I enjoyed in that, but again, a movie that's like, this is fucked up. So the X has more in common than with Barbarian than something like Nope. And yeah, it doesn't age well, but I did also kind of like the Scream from earlier in the year. I know it's not that great, but at least to me, it just adds to the Jenna Ortega having a great horror year thing. So and a good just year overall. So that's great. Yeah, we mentioned her before. Studio 666, X, and Scream all in the same year. That's pretty damn good.
And
pretty solid.
and she's Wednesday Addams.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. And the Wednesday series is coming up on
So-
Netflix. So that's coming up soon? Is it? Actually, I don't
Sure.
know. Yeah. But I know because we did the draft recently that Shane's probably big thing coming up is Halloween Ends. Chris, your horror pick was Barbarian, so obviously you're
Yep.
still yet to see it, but obviously that's probably your most anticipated still. Now that it has
I
a
hear it's
reputation.
good from you too.
Yeah, exactly. My pick was The Pale Blue Eye, which is probably closer to a thriller than horror. But so as far as like horror stuff, I'd probably say if it counts in that same area, I'm probably looking forward to The Menu the most. If it's going to be that kind of like fucked up, eat the rich type thing. That it seems, and it's got good reviews thus far coming out of it had its premiere in Toronto, I believe, and I saw a bunch of good critical responses there.
Yeah, I'm all over that movie. All over that movie, especially with the cast. Go ahead,
And
Chris.
actually, that was another one we confused. Well, I confused it with The Invitation.
Yeah, I definitely
There's a
didn't
lot of
confuse that
confusion
one.
with
Yeah.
Invitation.
Yeah.
Because we're like, oh, these are the movies that are coming up. What's this one about? Vampires? This one's about eating people? What are we watching?
Right. But I definitely want to put on the radar for myself and others. Pearl came out this weekend, as we noted. So if you liked X, it basically seems to be getting similar to maybe even slightly better reviews, depending on who you talk to. Resurrection is a movie that's on PVOD right now that came out of Sundance with Rebecca Hall that looks very intense, that is getting also quite good reviews. So I definitely want to check that out. I've seen Glorious being batted around by a bunch of our friends in the independent podcasting game, so I'm interested in that. Smile, I can't stop seeing that trailer. This is becoming the one that has to be on every single movie, it seems right now. We mentioned Hellraiser. Halloween Ends we mentioned as well. Pray for the Devil's another trailer that I saw a lot. Did you guys see this one? Chris, did you see that?
That sounds familiar.
The one where
Pray for the Devil.
it's like an Exorcist update. Yeah, it's like a woman, like a nun who goes into like Exorcist camp.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I saw the trailer for that.
Yeah, and I guess she has some history with it when she was a child or something, that her mother was possessed by the devil or something like that. The only people I
Keep it in the family.
yeah, the only people I recognize in here are Virginia Madsen,
Maybe that's it.
but the lead obviously is a much younger person. Jacqueline Byers, I believe, is the lead here, and she was previously in mostly TV or lower stuff here. She was in Salvation, the TV show, Roadies, a few others. So not that big a star yet, but maybe she's hoping, obviously, to kind of maybe peak out with that movie. I also have Wendell and Wild, which is getting pretty good reviews, which is that claymation, kind of more family-oriented kind of scare to it. And then Nanny is an Amazon Prime one that we said had kind of like His House vibes with that one. I also wrote down for fun this movie Old People, which comes out like a couple weeks on Netflix. It's a German film, which if you want to just like do a Mystery Science Theater thing or something, this movie, it's about a remote island community or something like that, where a lot of the younger people in that community all moved away. So it's mostly old people left behind. And there's like a big wedding of this woman. She comes home for a wedding for her sister. And during that time, the old people in the like kind of like nursing home take over, bust out, and then just try to take over the town. And they hear the music playing at the wedding and crash the wedding and try to fucking kill everybody.
That sounds like my type of movie.
It's literally called Old People.
Yep,
And-
I'm on that one.
Oh,
I haven't seen a trailer, but I just saw the description today and I just laughed out loud. So I'm like, this might have to be like have a few pops on a Saturday night and just let it wash over me.
Or maybe Mayhem at Boca Raton.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Throwing a Golden Girls tie and I'm in.
Right?
But yeah, man, that's kind of like the horror stuff coming up for the rest of the year. I think, if we already have a bunch of movies we liked already, which I think is kind of like, horror movies are kind of cheap and easy, can do it in like one location. So I wonder if the pandemic just like greenlit like a bunch of horror movies, or
Most likely.
or whether because they had a backlog of the theatrical ones because they know that theatrical and horror actually works a lot these days. So I wonder if all that kind of adds up to we're getting like this backlog of maybe more good horror movies than we thought we might. So I think that's a good reason for it. Yes, sir.
I will say horror is adaptable. You can watch it anywhere. You can watch it at home. You can watch it in the theater.
Yeah.
Just like back in the day, we would go rent movies
Yep.
at a store, bring them back, and watch them home.
Yeah, exactly.
But, now they're everywhere.
Yeah.
They're streaming, they're rented, they're, in theaters.
Yeah.
It's a
We're
fun
having
time
kind
to
of
be
a
alive.
boom. And 95% of them are produced by Jason Blum. So if you don't like them, you know who to talk to, I guess. But it's good to see, though. And I'm glad for the success of Barbarian. I definitely, recommend people check that out. And like I said, go in blind and do that whole thing. Because it's just a fun story. It's a fun way to do it. And I appreciate it for that. Anything else you guys want to say on the horror year, or are we looking forward to what's coming on for recent activity?
Thrill me.
Right. No, I'm like I said, the two that I'm most interested in is Resurrection with Rebecca Hall. I'm glad you brought that up because that's the one with Tim Roth, right? He's in that one as well. Yeah. So I'm all over that one and in the guest list or whatever the menu. I'm sorry, the menu. I don't know why I said the guest list. Those are the two I'm looking forward to. Outside of Halloween Ends. So what I like about the Halloween, and I'll just make this short, but usually they'll drop where you'll find some really good hidden gems that get dropped either from Netflix or Hulu that we're not counting on that would surprise us during this season as well. So, I like to be surprised with the whole Halloween concept. So I'm, getting into the groove. So this is, again, I'm looking forward to this part of the year and hopefully it will not let me down.
Yeah. I mean, we're in the end of September. We haven't even hit, like we said, all those October releases that we usually see. Something usually pops out from that. So this will be interesting. Chris, any other notes on that one?
No, just that, listen, you want to gain me as a fan of horror? Scare me. Impress me.
Yeah, I did.
Jesus. Good thing I'm home. Good thing I'm home. I have to change my shorts. No, I'm just looking, just in general, I'm looking for good movies to watch. I hope for the best, but I'll tell you if I'm not impressed.
Yeah.
Here on recent activity.
And that'll probably happen after you watch something like The Munsters, which we didn't mention.
Oh,
so
God.
that's the kind of Halloween
I can
stuff.
watch that. I have a way of watching that, and
yeah,
I don't know if I wanna.
Yeah, I don't know if you should either. Oh, I didn't mention Mr. Harrigan's Phone, the Stephen King adaptation's coming through for Netflix as well. That's definitely more of a thrower. The trailer's out for that too. Yeah, and then obviously I'm sure Shudder has a bunch, VHS 99 and some other things too coming through. So that'll be interesting. Also, don't forget the TV angle of it all. Flanagan's Midnight Club. Not Walt Flanagan. Mike Flanagan.
Walt Flanagan's dog.
Yeah. So you got that coming out as well. And Hocus Pocus 2, I'm sure everybody's looking for a lot of good stuff, right? We're all there. So, you guys looking for, we got kind of in the next week, it seems like, I don't know if you guys are going to watch Clerks 3 the same way I did on Tuesday. We'll probably talk about that at some point. I know Chris is looking forward to Andor coming out this coming through. Don't Worry, Darling is coming up, and I know there's a bunch of, because I'm still.
What's that one about? I never heard anything about this.
No, of course not. Yeah, it's this little known flick. A lot of spit takes. So
Oh,
yeah. But there's a few other things that are click-clacking around, and I know for me, still on the Netflix beat, writing for what's on Netflix, I'll be watching Tyler Perry's The Jazz Man's Blues. I know Blonde is coming out for Ana de Armas playing Marilyn Monroe in that kind of NC-17 biopic, interesting take based on the novel, the Joyce Carol Oates novel. Athena looks good on Netflix as well. And there's the Netflix series 1899, which is the new series from the people who did Dark. So if you watch Dark, it'll be similar vibes on that one. I'm not sure if there's time travel involved, but definitely looks kooky. So yeah, so a lot of things. I don't even know the slant we're gonna go with next week, guys. It's such a weird hodgepodge of things coming out, but I am looking forward to seeing a lot of the stuff we mentioned. So anything in particular you guys are thinking for next week?
I outside of that Olivia Wilde film that no one knows about,
yes.
I am going to go see. I do want to see How They Run. That's out now. I'm going to try to check that out next week. I can't make any promises. That's the Sam Rockwell.
Adrian Brody.
Yeah,
and Cerise Ronan. I always butcher her name, but
Saoirse
Ronan.
Yeah,
I love her.
You're butchering my Irish people, Shane.
I know,
you bastard, you
man.
Frenchman.
But that's also on my list, so hopefully I get to see that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I still need to see The Woman King and everything else. I'm interested in that carrying over from this past week, which that was number one at the box office for that.
But it's like you said, we're just in a weird hodgepodge of just mix and match movies right now. There's no underlying theme right now. So I don't know. It's a good time. It's a good time. There's a lot to choose from, I feel like, right now.
Yeah, September is always that way. It's a mix of early Oscar hopefuls mixed with early horror thrillers kind of stuff, and then it's a bunch of we didn't know what to do with this month. And which I think is what See How They Run, Pearl, Woman King, those are definitely movies hey, we didn't know what the hell to do with this, sorry.
Right.
Even though it doesn't mean they're not good, but and especially Woman King is getting excellent reviews, so much to the point they're is Viola Davis going to get, for what seems kind of a more actiony movie, is it going to be in the Oscar running? Because she's always seems to be, so that'll be interesting.
I hear good things about Woman King, but I just can't help but feel it should be called Wakanda Forever.
Yeah. Well, at least this one's based on a true story.
It's based on a true story.
Yeah.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. So I don't mean to knock it, but it just seems like it's going that route. It's being advertised as this superhero actioner kind of thing. Or is it just me?
Well, it's wartime defense stuff with the surprise twist of being an all-female group. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the good stuff.
Yeah. Which, I'm sorry, Shane, the greatest beer run ever is looking like maybe not the good stuff.
I don't care what they say. They don't know nothing.
Hey, and at least it'll be on Apple
wine
TV
drinkers.
Plus, so I'll take it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Not the hop heads like Shane is over there.
Nope.
The proud, Pabst Blue Ribbon drinkers.
Still finishing that one.
Exactly. So, a lot of stuff that we might get to. We'll see what we end up bringing all together when we return next week. So, be sure to subscribe, do the whole thing, tell a friend, tell them to check out our little podcast here, and we'll see you again next week for more recent activity.